I wanted to ask you also about the actual
Yeah.
film that's coming out. I think it's called Sonic. Or
It's just called, just like mine, it's just
yeah,
called
just
Sonic.
called Sonic. I mean, now a couple of things. Do you think the team has? I'm pretty sure they've probably seen yours.
Oh, they had to.
They had. They've definitely probably seen your film. Now I want to know your thoughts and the look of Sonic, the proposed look of Sonic, and the leaks and everything. I just want to know, what does Eddie LeBron, the original, I would call you the original Sonic the Hedgehog filmmaker, what does he think?
When it comes to Sonic, like, let's talk design. Like, there's a line that you walk because there is a very specific representation just of Sonic. When you see a character, you're like, that's Sonic. You see all the little nuances, like, and from Sega Sonic CD to Sonic Adventure, like, still even the transformation to 3D, like, that's Sonic, and that's what we tried to follow. But apparently Paramount Pictures doesn't want to follow that, and I am not a fan of the new design. I thought that I pushed the boundaries of, like, how realistic you can make Sonic, because there was a line that I was not crossing. And I got so many different designs from our artists, and I was like, I said no to a lot of things, because I was like, at the end of the day, we have to look at this character and be like, that's Sonic. He's more photorealistic, but that's Sonic. And I don't think the one that is legit, like the one that's officially out there, is like, that's not Sonic. It's very. I got worked up when I first saw it, and I'm like, this can't be. Like, I'm such a huge fan of when you see a character, like, there is this representation, there's this iconography of that is that character. Like the Ghostbusters, like, certain uniform, certain pack, like, you look at that and, like, that's a Ghostbuster. And then once you tread too far from it, no longer represents why fans are into this in the first place. And I feel like the Sonic design, it forgets what it is. Like, the posters and all the leaked information, everything is, like, systematically saying that this is not going to be the type of Sonic movie that we want. Like, there has to be a fantasy element. There has to be something otherworldly. Even if you want to ground it, like, it has to be a representation of what Sonic is and those games are. And this film is, they're doing what they did with Woody Woodpecker. They're doing what they did with Hop. They're doing what they did with all these other CG movies, which is like, we're just, it's like a buddy cop. Sonic and his friend, they're going to go and have a blast, and Jim Carrey's going to chase after them. Oh, they're walking through this little town, and it's like, ugh. Here's the thing, I'm restraining myself because I can go on a whole tangent, but it's just like, it's not that hard to get something like that right. Yeah. Like, it's very, like, we haven't seen any trailers yet, but it's like, the whole thing's worrisome. Like, we finally have a live action Sonic movie coming out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be this. That sucks, man.
I know. I mean,
sucks.
It's like, Sonic the Hedgehog is one of my all-time favorite video game characters. Yeah. Like, I grew up on that, like, playing all the games, and I've been waiting, and I'm excited, but seeing that, it was kind of freakish. It was scary. I don't think kids are gonna look at that and be like, "Oh, that's so cool." It looks freakish, and what's even more scary is that supposedly it's coming out in 2019, so they're pretty much done with it. So
that means they're somewhere in post production right now, and it's here's the thing: who knows how far along they are? Could they make changes? Maybe, but also studios, certain entities are stubborn. Like, for all we know, that's the director's, like, idea. This is how Sonic needs to look, and he's going to stick with it. It's like, I can see, like, certain fans, they will get upset to the point where it's, like, very startling. Like, why are you so upset? But then you also have to understand, like, film is a huge medium. There's going to be so many eyes on Sonic. Like, Sonic is going to be mainstream again. Like, he was, and then he kind of became something else, like a secondary character to all these larger franchises. And now Sonic is being put back in the limelight, and everyone's going to be very protective of, like, this is how are people going to perceive this Sonic? This is not my Sonic. So now when I talk to people about Sonic, or talk to them about what I'm interested in, their whole understanding is going to be this movie and this
True.
design and this story and this character. And that's going to be upsetting for a lot of fans because at the end of the day, this is going to be a part of what they like so much. And if it doesn't represent it correctly, they're going to, of course, they're going to be angry. I'm going to be upset too.
I mean, I want to say what's on everybody's mind right now. Why can't they just let you direct the film?
I don't know.
That would be awesome.
I mean, it was amazing when they released like the teaser posters and the other concept posters were released. It was crazy because I saw a surge in viewership of the movie. And I still remember one of the earlier complaints was the design of ours was like, oh, it's a little too realistic, it's too realistic. And then everyone just came out of the shadows. And all the comments are like, why didn't they go with your design? Why didn't they do this? We didn't realize what we had. And I was like, you know, I feel good that people like the design now in retrospect, but also it's like at the end of the day, I walked the line. I didn't cross it with the Sonic design. And you know, I knew as soon as someone would cross it, like, this type of thing would happen. And it's really cool that there's, like, this new, like, found love for my film because I put so much work into it, and it was exhausting. And I still remember the 3 days leading into the completion of it, I was, like, having a mental breakdown where I was just, like, I was up for 3 days straight. Wow. And I still remember talking to my girlfriend, Beverly, I called her like 6 hours before the completion of the film, like borderline crying. I'm like, I'm so tired. This film will never get done. It'll never end.
Oh, wow.
And then 6 hours later, I called her and I'm like, it's done. It's done. Oh my God, it's done. And then I fell asleep for 12 hours.
Oh, yeah. It's well deserved.
So it's like I worked my butt off for that film, and there were so many hurdles, and it's really nice. Like, there's an appreciation for it. But it's also a slight shame. It's like because the official film is starting off on such a horrible foot that, you know, I mean, the love for my film will probably grow, but at what cost? Like, the official film is still going to be made. It's still going to release. It's still going to make some money. And that is going to be the representation of Sonic in Hollywood. And that's...
For good or for worse.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. What do you think of Jim Carrey being cast as Dr. Robotnik?
It could be potentially good or bad. Like, it depends on which Jim Carrey, it depends on the makeup, depends on so many things. Like, Jim Carrey's like, he's like Nick Cage, where it's like you're either getting the awesome version or the over-the-top version. And sometimes the over-the-top version is the awesome version, but it's like, we don't know which version of Jim Carrey we're getting. So it could be either, like, it could work, it could not. So it's like, that's one of my curiosities is like, okay, so he can be good, but you know, we'll see. Like, I'm still such a huge fan of my Robotnik. Like, he is my favorite thing of our movie. Like, I would say the best thing about Mega Man, my Mega Man fan film, my Sonic fan film, is the villains, where it's like, I can't ask for a better Wily, and I could not ask for a better Robotnik. I know for a fact if I ever did another Sonic movie, he would be like the first thing. Like, I actually emailed him, like, I haven't talked to him in 6 years, and I emailed him 3 weeks ago because I just wanted to see what he was up to. And he's still out there. He's still, you know, doing his spiel. So it's like, do you want to play Robotnik one more time? I haven't asked him, but it's like, you know, I want to get you in that makeup again and, you know, do something fun with you. But I guess we'll see. I don't know. Like, I don't know which Jim Carrey we're getting.
I mean, it's just crazy to think about it. I mean, I love Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
But like you said, we just have to wait and see what they go with. But do you think they should have went with, because I don't know if you heard, but with the Nintendo film, Mario, they have a Mario film coming out, but it's going to be like purely CG.
Yeah, completely animated.
So do you think they should have went along that route with a completely animated Sonic, or do you think the live action route is the way to go?
I would say, even having done my film, my biggest regret was that I blurred live action and CG too much. I feel like it should be primarily CG with a little bit of live action. You can have the Robotnik be live action. You could have some live action set pieces, but I feel like most of it should be computer generated. And I would probably, if I was in a position to make the call as an executive producer, I would say do it the way they're doing Mario and just make a fully CG movie using the money and the resources of the Hollywood system to make it up this level of quality. with like a Mega Man, that can be realized in live action. Sonic is much trickier. Like at the end of the day, I kind of did mine as like my own like fan experiment where I was like, I want to see if this works. As a fan, I'm interested in like what if this type of live action Sonic works. But if I was in Hollywood, I just completely animated, Pixar style, just because if I'm about to put this out into the ether to millions of people who are going to pay money for it, there's no room for experimentation. There's no room for seeing like what works. At the end of the day, I have to prioritize the fan who's going to come and pay money to see it. And at that point, I would just go completely CG from the, just that's the safest bet, especially for something as outlandish, as intricate and fantastical as Sonic. But I would probably have Robotnik be live action.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting way to go about it. And I just want to say thank you for all those awesome fan films, man. You made it for us fans. It's really cool.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.